Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady and principal owner of Everett Tax Solutions, where we help you win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the small business community. Okay, so even though October 15th was the extension deadline, the legal side was seriously popping. Okay, because I was over here in shock. So as the title says, billionaire Robert F. Smith, he avoids prosecution. Now, Robert F. Smith, this is the same Robert F. Smith that paid off student loans for students at Morehouse College. Well, during that time when he was giving that speech, he was being investigated. Who knew? The Justice Department yesterday released the agreement. So let me tell you what is going on here. Like, this was some, I expect this to be an American Greed episode, okay? Because this is off the chain. So it says that he entered into a non-prosecution agreement with the Department of Justice for his involvement from 2000 through 2015 in a legal scheme to conceal income and evade millions in taxes by using offshore trust structure and offshore bank accounts. Now, let me stop right there. I get a lot of phone calls from people who are trying to build these elaborate business structures, hadn't sold not one thing, but trying to build these elaborate business structures in order to avoid taxes. Like, that's not avoiding taxes. When you're doing stuff like this, you're into the tax evasion type stuff, okay? Because if you're trying to build a holding company, to have a holding company that owns 45 LLCs and all that stuff because you don't want to pay taxes, that's bananas. Okay. So he agreed to cooperate, and which helped him avoid indictment. Okay. So let's talk about what he did. Okay. He admitted to knowingly and intentionally using Excelsior Trust and Flash Holdings and their associated foreign bank accounts in the British Virgin Islands and Switzerland to conceal from the IRS and the U.S. Treasury Department income earned from and distributed from Flash Holdings from private equity funds. As a result of the overall scheme, he willfully did not report to the IRS over $200 million in partnership income, and he failed to report his ownership of his foreign bank accounts in the British Virgin Islands and Switzerland as required by law. Okay, and let me stop right there. Even though you're talking about, like, millions and millions of dollars, this foreign reporting, it applies to us as well. One of the things that I've seen on these streets is people talking about holding their cryptocurrency in other countries so that they don't have to report it to the United States Treasury Department and the IRS. Let me tell you something. If you are a United States citizen and you earn money on this planet, it is reportable income. Okay. And if you have foreign bank accounts, you must also report that. Okay. I told y'all these countries, they might be fighting each other on the world stage and on TV, but they cooperate when it comes down to this cash. All right. So, and it says that Smith admits that in 2005, he used approximately $2.5 million of untaxed funds to purchase and renovate a vacation home in Sonoma, California. In 2010, he purchased 2 ski properties and a piece of commercial property in France. In 2011 and 12, he used about $13 million to build and make improvements to a residence in Colorado and to fund charitable activities at the property. Okay. So under the agreement, he has agreed to continue cooperating with the Department of Justice and agreed to pay $56 million in taxes and penalties stemming from the unreported income, another $82 million in penalties stemming from concealment of his offshore bank accounts. So altogether, he's going to be paying over $139 million, like $140 million. Now, the man is worth $5 billion, somewhere around there. But still, $140 million, that ain't nothing to sneeze at. And it says that he also agrees to abandon his protective claims for a refund of approximately $182 million that were filed with the IRS. And so what a protective claim is, and I will give you the definition, is that it's a formal claim or amended return for credit or refund, normally based on current litigation or expected changes in tax law or other legislation. So you file a protective claim when you have a right to a refund that's contingent on future events, okay? Even though you may not even know what that is yet. But don't that even as a tax person, that still sounds like, what? Okay, like you are protecting against something that might happen even if you don't know it's going to happen. Okay. But then but where it got really juicy beyond all of this, right, is later on the Department of Justice then released another indictment of a CEO. His name is Robert Brockman. And he's being indicted for decades-long tax evasion and wire fraud schemes. Guess who he was in bed with? Mr. Smith. So it makes one wonder if Mr. Smith rolled on this dude, okay? This is why I say this is going to be an American Greed episode for real, some Law and Order or something, okay? So he is being charged with tax evasion, wire fraud, money laundering, and some other stuff, okay? And this is a statement from the U.S. attorney. What's his name? Anderson. Let me see if I can find his name in here. David Anderson. This is what he said. Complexity will not hide crime from law enforcement. Sophistication is not a defense to federal criminal charges. We will not hesitate to prosecute the smartest guys in the room. Okay. So while you all, like I said, are thinking that you're going to build these complex business structures and hide money from the IRS, it might take them a minute. But that don't mean they won't find you. And again, there's no statute of limitations on fraud. So it is alleged that Mr. Brockman is responsible for carrying out an approximately $2 billion with a B, $2 billion tax evasion scheme. And that may be the largest tax evasion scheme in history at this point. So it says that he used a web of offshore entities in Bermuda and Nevis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, to hide from the IRS income earned on investments in private equity funds, which was managed by a San Francisco-based investment firm. He directed untaxed capital gains to secret bank accounts in Bermuda and Switzerland. Y'all be hearing about these Swiss bank accounts on the movies and whatnot. Okay, guess what? Switzerland ain't trying to get hemmed up either. But listen, the indictment further alleges that to execute the fraud between 1999, no statute of limitations, 1999, 20 years ago, right? Between 1999 and 2019, Brockman took measures such as backdating records using encrypted communications and code words. I like the code words part, to communicate with a co-conspirator among other allegations. It also says that between 2008 and 2010, he engaged in a fraudulent scheme to obtain approximately $67.8 million in a software company's debt securities. So I guess that's against the law. That's something I didn't even know about. But it says that he used a third party to circumvent the requirements for purchasing these securities and to conceal from sellers valuable economic information. And it says that he used material, non-public information about the software company to make decisions about purchasing the debt. He used some inch-high private eye stuff. And he allegedly persuaded another individual to destroy and mutilate documents and computer evidence. He paid somebody to destroy stuff, y'all. I get the picture of like when you're watching, back in the day when the government was coming, people standing there throwing stuff in the shredder and stuff. That's the picture I got in my mind. So he is being charged with conspiracy. Conspiracy is when you involve another person. As soon as you involve where the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered. Okay, when 2 or 3 are gathered to do some dirt, it's called a conspiracy. Okay, so he's being charged with 7 counts of tax evasion, 6 counts of failing to file foreign bank account records, 20 counts of wire fraud. That's when you get money over the internet, okay? Wiring money from banks, PayPal, Cash App. electronic means, that's wire fraud. Okay. 2 counts of concealment money laundering, tax evasion money laundering. So there's more than one kind of money laundering. Okay. Who knew? Right. So that's concealment money laundering, where he was hiding money, tax evasion money laundering, where he was trying not to pay these taxes, and 1 count of international concealment money laundering. Oh Lord, evidence tampering and destruction of evidence. That's a whole bunch of stuff. So he's supposed to be showing up in federal court soon. Whoo, that's a whole lot. All right, it is a lot. Now, again, what's the lesson, right? Because even with, I'm telling you this stuff, it's interesting because, like I said, I expect to see this on American Greed in a couple of months or something, right? So on these streets, you hear about, oh, you should put your stuff in the holding company and go farm your stuff in Wyoming so you can avoid paying these taxes or whatever. That's an absolute no. Okay, it's no. It might add complexity, like the U.S. attorney said, it might add a complexity, but it does not remove your responsibility and requirement to report income and pay taxes on said income. Okay, just doesn't. Having your money stored in other countries does not mean that you don't pay taxes in the U.S. Okay, it just doesn't. If you earn money on this planet, now once you go in the moon and do what you do out there, because somebody is gonna say that, right? But if you earn money on this planet and you are a U.S. citizen, you are required to report that worldwide income. I don't care where it is. I don't care the form it comes in, whether it's cash, cryptocurrency, all these things. You are required to report those things and to report it annually. Okay, that's the rules. And to not do that, the penalties are stiff. I mean, you can see the money that is involved here. But the penalties are stiff when you don't, when you have these reporting requirements and then you don't do them. Okay. So there is, the willfulness part. When you look at stuff that's going on between 1999 and 2019, that's willful. 1 year you miss it, that could be a mistake. But 20 years, that is willful and intentional. Okay. So, so this is, of course, I'm going to be watching this to see what else happens with this because, I'm over here, got popcorn. It's way too early for popcorn right now. But that's the lessons that I really want to share with you is that you might think that, okay, I haven't heard something for a year, 2 year, 3 years, 5 years that, oh, I'm getting away with something. That is not the case. And, people want to know, well, how do people get caught? Who knows? They normally don't tell you that stuff, but I'm pretty willing to bet that there's a whistleblower involved in here somewhere. Okay. So whistleblowers, there is an actual program where you essentially go to the government and say, hey, Jack is not paying taxes on this money. Here's the proof I have that Jack is not paying taxes on this money. And then the whistleblower gets a percentage of what is recovered. Okay. The last one I saw is 2 Wall Street dudes. They were paid, I think, $2.3 million for as a whistleblower award. So, okay. There's money in that. But anyway, so yeah, this is a very interesting case that's going on. And of course, like I said, I'm going to be watching it. But just know that there's no statute of limitations on fraud. And like he said, I tell you this all the time, the IRS might be slow, but they're not stupid. Don't think that you're going to go get 45 holding companies and go hide this money from the IRS. You might get away with it temporarily because, as you can see, they did. But now that they caught, they're paying for it. So you have to decide if it's worth it. That's it. Okay. So okay, that's it for today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.